Welcome to Rewind or Die, the latest retro indie horror made by the same team that created Bloodwash, that I covered a couple of weeks ago. Also, go watch that. But the latest game sees you play as a character haunted by a pig mask wearing murderer whilst you're just trying to do your job. And no, unfortunately I'm not talking about John Kramer, although you may be seeing him eventually. Of course not, I'm talking about this guy. But who is he? Why is he murdering people? And can we escape this squealing nightmare? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be figuring out today as we grind all 17 achievements that this game comes with. And with that, let's crack on. Welcome to the achievement grind. The game starts in a slaughterhouse. Surprisingly upbeat music plays as a man with a bag on his head works his way down a conveyor belt until... well, that's certainly a start. But then the game actually starts with us sat on a sofa. Our roommate Frankie gives us the news that we need to cover the night shift at work. That is never a good sign in a horror game. However, we deal with the news well and immediately leave. And we're off, as for leaving the house we unlock the first achievement, Just a Normal Day. On the way to work we also see that there is currently a murderer on the loose, and they're taking people at quite an alarming rate. But unfazed we press on, and head straight down an alleyway. Now this is just a generic gross British alleyway, but there is something well worth the trip at the end of the corridor. I'm talking about a good boy. No, not the homeless person muttering to himself. We're talking about Zach, the goodest boy who we immediately pet. And because this game is fantastic and the devs are geniuses, we unlock the next achievement, Making Friends, for petting said goodest boy. Unfortunately though, we must leave Zach behind for now and carry on. But the homeless person doesn't want us to leave, as when we go to leave, this happens. Style.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, the stench of death surrounds you.
Nothing like a crazy homeless person sniffing the death right off you, is they? I mean, he's not wrong, but it's still rude. Now, the homeless sniffing us aside, we then arrive at our job videos to go. Yeah, we basically work at a Blockbusters. But before we can even open the door, we notice something quite alarming. There is an absolutely mangled van to our right, the perfect vehicle for a murderer to go about murdering in. But don't worry about it actually, I'm sure we'll never see this van again, ever. Finally, we're at work and ready to start our shift. We throw our backpack in our locker and make sure that all of these lovely patrons get exactly what they're looking for. And it's a good job, as we already have our first customer demanding my attention. Standing at the counter is a great fellow and absolutely not a dick.
I've been waiting here for over 10 whole minutes.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, sorry mate, we're a little bit short-staffed today.
It's totally unacceptable. I want to speak to your manager.
Ugh, a Kevin. Wonderful. Straight away. Honestly, maybe a pig-wearing murderer isn't the worst thing that could happen to us. However, we expertly deal with him in a professional and caring manner. Yeah, we don't give him his nudie tape and send him packing. After dealing with him though, the phone then rings. And since we're the only one around, we're gonna go find it. After locating it and answering it, we then hear the screams of a woman scared out of her mind, before it then hangs up. We put the phone down and go to greet the next loyal customer. This guy isn't a Karen, but he is a film snob, as you can see from his shirt. And unapologetically, he just starts listing movie facts. And the names have been changed, but what he's saying is actually true, including this Titanic fact. Sorry, I mean unsinkable boat fact, which is a decent bit of random knowledge actually. Anyways, we sell him the video and he leaves in a totally normal and predictable way.
That's all I've got, unfortunately.
But more importantly than listening to all of his incredible facts, we unlock our next achievement, Movie Buff. Now, because this is a horror game, when he leaves, we start hearing some bizarre noises coming from the bathroom. And of course, it's just our co-worker who seems to be preoccupied. But co-worker sleeping on the toilet aside, we then get interrupted by a local reporter who wants to ask us some questions on the recent disappearances, as they all seem to stem from around this area. But we know nothing, of course, so he just leaves. We then take the place of said reporter. We say that the interview went wrong, but speaking of going wrong, as we go to leave we hear a huge crash. So keen to get the latest scoop, we sprint over to it, and see a rather familiar looking van. But an eagle-eyed reporter like me can easily find out what happened, and we do that as soon as we near a pile of bloody boxes with a pig mask hidden inside it. We remove the boxes and see the head, but we then get thrown to the ground and a rather bizarre looking fellow kills the reporter. We also unlock the achievement, News Just In. With that, we're back as Tony in the video shop, and it's time to close down. Firstly, we have to lock the doors, then clean the shop, take out the rubbish and put the tapes away. Sounds pretty easy, so we start by saying goodbye to our co-worker as he leaves us to close the shop alone, because of course he does. He needs to go and give somebody a pumping apparently, so he gives us the keys to lock up. But the door soon opens once again afterwards, and in the room stands a policeman officer. He asks us the same questions as the reporter did, as there are a lot of people missing, but they all had an account with this shop, so we need to give him some information. We get it from the lockers and pass them along, and he goes about his night. We lock the doors and close the shop. Time to clean now. Now I don't need to explain cleaning to you folks, but after cleaning the porn room we exit to see that somebody's turned on the arcade machine, and it's Flappy Bird, well, flap.exe, and we start playing it because there is bound to be an achievement tied to this, and there is. We make it past the previous high score of 16 and unlock the next achievement, Arcade Master. But beating high scores aside, it's time to carry on cleaning. Now after getting all of the rubbish, we notice that turning a machine on isn't the only bizarre thing that's happened, as a secret room has opened up and inside is an adorable pig plushie and news articles on every single missing person. How odd. But we're rather chill about finding that and finish cleaning and go outside to throw the bin into a larger bin. Yeah, I know it's a cliche, but it really got me. However, this eyeless gent is Captain, a war veteran with an injured leg who often keeps behind our bins. But we know each other and he's alright actually. We talk about the recent disappearances before he heads to the pallets for some comfort. But not only that, the man's got some comedy in those bones.
Yeah, you'll love this.
Ooh.
What do you call a man with no shins?
What?
Tony.
But better than that hilarious joke is our next achievement, Don't Give Up Your Day Job. But back to the graft. Next on the list is to put the videos away. A simple task, but something rather bizarre makes it harder, as somebody is tapping on the window outside, and they appear to be in pig apparel. We tell them to feck off, and they say that they will be back. I'm sure that's going to go well. Well, it doesn't, as we find out seconds later when somebody throws a brick through the window with a note attached to it saying, "Not long now, piglet." So we panic and immediately call our boss Keith. He tells us he is on his way and we board up the window. Then followed by another call. But this one isn't as nice. It's the killer, saying we're going to have a lot of fun and he'll come see us again soon, before we then hear somebody getting killed outside. With the lights gone out, it's time for us to leave. Luckily there is a vent in the porn room we can use to escape, just in the nick of time, as well as when we enter the vents, the pigman enters. However, luckily we make it outside, but that's where our problems really begin, as Captain has vanished and we find a body of the homeless dude from earlier. He should have actually probably smelt himself really, stinks of death on that one. This is where Slaw makes his true appearance. It's time to run, and I mean run, as Slaw is sprinting to catch up to us. We duck and weave through buildings and back alleys until we throw a shelf down to stop his pursuit, and we unlock our next achievement, Out of the Frying Pan. You folks know how horror works by now. It's not the end of it, as he emerges moments later and we once again faith our way straight out of there. That is until we take a bad parkour and fall through the floor. Slaw catches up and with a boot to the head we're captured, and we unlock the next achievement, Into the Fire. We spawn in a cell, with Slaw saying that he has plans for us and not to go anywhere. We of course decide that staying isn't the best idea, so by sneaking through a hole in the cupboard, we escape our irksome confinement. This is of course the slaughterhouse, and we need to use all of our wits to escape this alive. So for now we explore for things we can use to our advantage. The first thing that we mess around with is a valve. This raises the water and exposes a fuse that we can grab for later, as well as a door that has 5 piggies written on it, but more on that one later. The next door we find is locked, but when we break it down, what we do find is the skeleton of a poor human. A depressing sight of what to expect if we don't get out of here, I guess. The next thing we find is something we're also very not happy with, as when we enter the bathrooms to this maze, we find the goodest boy Zach trapped in a cage. The main mission from this second on is to save that dog, nothing else matters. So the next stage in saving the dog has us pick up the fuse that turning the valve allowed us to get, but on our way out of the room, Captain then makes his appearance. He is stuck inside of an incinerator, so I guess we kind of have to help him too, don't we? Now back in the basement, one of the doors that was previously locked is now free to open apparently, but in there is an electrical cube that we can use for later. And also we find the fuse box. Once we add the next one, apparently the freezer door is now powered again. Now with this red cube, we're allowed to solve this generic horror game puzzle to unlock 2 of the doors to the left. The first door gives us a head, with some of the van keys hidden inside, and to be honest, that's definitely a memorable place to keep them. I approve. So we go to open the back of the van up, but when we open it, the alarm blares and we need to leg it back to the cell so that Slaw doesn't catch us. He thankfully falls for it and thinks we've been safe and sound this entire time. Pfft, Idiot. We return to the van, and once inside we find the next electrical part that we need for the second door. Inside that one we find something just as important, a freezer lever, so now we can actually get inside it. We do just that and walk into the freezer section. Frozen dead skeletons are also in every inch of this place. We then step into a room, but it doesn't go well, even when we do find a crowbar in the carcass. Slaw closes the door on us and we only have moments to find a way out before he freezes us to death. I mash buttons on this thing on the wall and it works. The countdown stops, but for some reason that makes the floor give in and we fall into the lower section of the slaughterhouse. When we awake, we unlock the next achievement as cold as ice before we find out that we're now in the sewer tunnels. And if that's not bad enough, this place is a massive maze and we're not the only ones down here. To exit, we need to find the 5 power switches throughout the sewers and to turn them on so that the main door opens. But Slaw is right behind us, so this is going to take some running to figure out an escape. Slaw also apparently has the eyes of a hawk, and mere moments into our run, we die. We dead. Right, where are we going? Yeah, we die twice because Slaw is a spawn camping smegpot, so we simply run faster. We find the first couple of levers fairly quickly, but we need to get access to further into the sewers to find the rest. This is where we also stumble across the body of a sewer worker enjoying some erotica, before his head just falls off, so we simply steal his keycard and leave him to it. Now, long story short, we spend a little bit of time in here, constantly getting lost and getting chased down by Slaw, so let's just cut to the end where we find the escape and barely make it through into the next section. We climb through another vent system and barely avoid him again, before we make it to another room and unlock the next achievement, It Smells Funny in Here. And then because the game doesn't give you enough vent sections, we hop into another vent and see half of a man. He pops to life somehow even though his complete lower half is missing, and we can get the code to the door in one of the lockers near Zach. We then take the key to the gun box he had and go to get it, because gun is good. We exit the vent, grab a power pack and get back to the main slaughterhouse section. But this power pack may be the key to saving Cap. He got so worried that we abandoned him, so we pop the pack back into the holder and get ready to save our friend like the true hero we are.
20, go, gas, turn on the gas.
Yeah, instead we burn him to a crisp and unlock man down. But somehow, and don't ask me how, only seconds later he's awake and alive again. It's almost like the entire thing never happened. How odd. Anyway, this time we turn the gas off first, doy, so this time the door opens and Cap is a crisp-free, free man. But unfortunately he is weak and in no shape to be doing anything, so he's just going to hide in the slaughterhouse until we're all ready to leave. However, in his cell is the next important find, as we use the crowbar to get the locker key hidden under this grate, and also our next achievement for saving Cap's life, unlocking No Man Left Behind. We unlock the locker and get the code, and immediately sprint to retrieve the gun. Inside the room we find the Resident Evil gun and ammo, and right on cue Slaw makes his appearance again, although he'll wish he hadn't, as we instinctually unload all of the bullets possible into this pig bandit. And I tell you what, he can take quite a shot, but we're not stopping until he is dead. Now it does take a while, but thankfully he does indeed go down. Slaw dies and we unlock the achievement Disgusting Swine, and it's followed up by a one-liner and us double tapping him. However, we have won the war, so we explore a little more to see how to save Zach, also finding the reporter's tape, so we knew he didn't make it either. We also get the grinder up and running, and out pops the keycard that we need to get onto the computer and figure out how to leave this place. We rush to the computer and we open the front door, only a moment away from salvation. But when we go to leave, and in true horror game style, Slaw returns. Somehow 50 bullets didn't work, but you know what will work? Stabbing him with the crowbar and watching him fall and get mulched into absolutely nothing. And with that, Slaw now is truly dead. However, this is where something comes to mind, the piggy door. As earlier it said that 5 piggies were needed, and that's when I had a eureka moment that just struck me, as throughout the entire game we kept finding the adorable little pig plushies. Turns out we can shoot them, so what we need to do is find the 5 piggies around the level and get rid of them all. It doesn't take us too long except for the final one, which was in a really good hiding spot, but with that the door is open and we go to check out what's inside. Inside we find the most cliche and boring thing that we could have ever imagined for a horror game. Honestly, I'm expecting you to guess what we find. Inside is a book, a cult book if you will, and when we read it, this happens. Excuse me? Ugh, what a cliche, am I right? So anyway, we started blasting at this pig plushie and the many skulls that it throws in our direction, and weirdly enough this pig took less bullets to go down than Slaw did, but it dies and we unlock the next achievement, It Was You All Along. A cage is then lowered and we get some bolt cutters from it. The perfect thing for freeing Zach if you ask me. And of course it is. We race to him and destroy the lock on his cage, freeing this distinguished gentleman and also unlocking the next achievement, The Goodest Boy. Absolutely perfect. But with that, it's time to take our leave. We head to the exit, injured but alive. Cap then joins us and with Zach at our side too, we all leave this nightmare. And for escaping with everybody alive, we unlock the next achievement, Full House. But that's not all. Who is Slaw? Was it Cap? Was it the reporter or the policeman? Well, we cut to a few hours earlier. Keith, the boss for our work, is talking to the police saying he has no idea where we went and that he found the body in the alleyway. But it turns out Keith knows exactly where we was, for he was the killer. And that's Rewind or Die. We unlock the final achievement, Rewind or Die, for completing the game, and this short but very chaotic game has come to a close. With that, the achievements too, and the grind is over. Now, you all know how I feel about these silly kind of games. There's something just so amazing about being able to play a PS1 style horror game for a couple of hours and get a short, scary story out of it. I just love them, and I hope they never stop. And I was quite excited for this one as well. As I said before, it's made by the same people that made Bloodwash, and they're geniuses. Now, honestly, of course I love this game. Now, it wasn't the scariest out of the lot if I'm being honest. I will admit that the only really scary part of the game besides the jump scares that are like pre-programmed was the sewer section with Slaw. But once he actually started chasing you, that also kind of lost the edge to the scare. Now personally, I would have loved to have seen it if you had to navigate the slaughterhouse with Slaw about it. That would have been wonderful and much scarier in my opinion, but I still really enjoyed this game, I can't lie. Now, let's get to the stats. Rewind or Die took us a whopping 2 hours to unlock all 16 achievements, but that's not a negative, that's exactly what this game needed to be, and it was a wonderful couple of hours. I'm going to be giving this game a well-deserved 8 out of 10, with the suggestion I made about having Slaw a constant threat as well as maybe a couple more over-the-top gory kills, it would have been much higher, but 8 is still extremely respectable and weirdly enough is the same score that I gave Bloodwash as well, so great work Torture Star. For difficulty of the achievements though, I do have to give it 1 however. You can grind all of the achievements pretty easily and in one short playthrough, so anything more would be a lie. And I suppose for the hardest achievement I'll be giving it to Full House, for escaping with everyone, as you have to do the most for that one, I suppose. So yeah, why not, that one. But folks, that's Rewind or Die. Now don't worry as well as there are plenty more games of this caliber that I can't wait to show you, so I hope you enjoyed it as more will absolutely follow. Now, as I'm also sure that you're aware, today isn't Sunday. Well, as I promised when I quit my job, there are going to be more videos on the channel, so this is the start of that. It might not be 2 every week, but I am working hard to bring you folks the best content that I can create. And again, thank you all for being here. So let me also just quickly remind you that Sunday's video is going to be the interesting sequel to the hardest grind that we've ever done on the channel, Mirror's Edge, so make sure that you come back on Sunday for Mirror's Edge Catalyst, it's going to be a good one. Also, don't forget to swing by my Twitch where we go for the Achievements Grind live as well, and the last place that you need to go check out is the Patreon as well, as we have some awesome tiers to give you a little bit more behind the scenes looks, exclusive votes, and honestly so much more starting from as little as $1. So go be a supporter. And that segues nicely, thank you again to all of my amazing patrons for their support, with special thanks to Lider, Danny Doug, Desty, Luna Gitgood, Cobble, Jaffa Boyo, Pick Prince, Marental, and Loki Mischief. You are all awesome, thank you so much. But folks, that's all from me today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely week. I will see you all on Sunday. Take care, bye bye for now.